Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about all the different instances of a hole and a slot on Eclipse Town, the Mineplex block hunt. Now, put in simple terms, a hole is any location that is surrounded by 4 blocks, and a slot is any location that is surrounded by 3 blocks, right? That's basically what it is. Now, depending on the surrounding blocks, like for instance, there's a hiding spot over here where, one could argue you're surrounded by 4 blocks, one could argue that you're surrounded by 3 blocks, right? Depending on how you want to think of it, you might consider this a hole, you might consider it a slot. And so, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to think really simple. 4 blocks is a hole, 3 blocks is a slot, right? My opinion varies for whether or not a hiding spot is a hole or slot. So I'm just going to go over all the different instances. Right, so we have 2 holes in this melon stack, as you can see, 2 holes. Going over here with the TNT and hay bales, right, this is a slot, right? So this slot right there. And I'll call this a hole, right? Sort of a hole. Right, but keep going, we'll just keep going, right? Alright, I might miss a few, by the way. Alright, I'm just going over the ones I feel that are important, right? So, slot and hole. Over here with the melons, this is a slot. Now, I might consider this a slot because even though that's a fence, like I'm surrounded by 3 of the characteristic blocks, which are melons. I'm surrounded by 3 melons, so I might just consider this a slot. And I'll consider this neither a hole or a slot because it doesn't help me, right? I like that. That was good. It doesn't help me. That was good. For the bookshelves, we have a hole right here and a slot right here, right? Hopefully you see that. With the furnaces, right, I'm going to say we have a slot right here. And as a flower pot, I guess you could have a hole right here. Again, technically, you can easily see through the leaves. So you might be like, it's not a hole, but I'll call it a hole just because it helps me. If I think of that as a hole, it helps me think about it better. So hopefully it helps you. That was good. Okay, going over here, not much going on over here. But with the TNTs, we actually have a hole and 2 slots. We have a hole right here and 2 slots. One of them here, and then one of them here. So 2 slots, as you can see. That's basically it for the center of the map. But I also want to go over the buildings, right? We actually do have a lot going on with the buildings, which is why holes and slots actually occur quite a lot more. Eclipse Town. So in this case, based on the way that I defined a hole in the beginning of the video, I said, any hiding spot that is surrounded by 4 blocks, right? I put it in very simple terms. But again, if you wanted to be more rigorous, you might consider this a hole. It's just a bigger hole though, right? So that's, right, I'd say that's a hole, and right here you'd have a slot. You do have a hole right here as well, right? That one's definitely better fits the definition. Right, you also have a hole right here, as you can see. Whoops. That's basically it. Right, let's just head somewhere else. I like that. That was good. Let's just head somewhere else. Let's go to the other small building. I believe you have a few things going on here. Right, you have a slot right here for a TNT. We have a hole right here. Right, and we have a hole right here. So that would basically be it. That's basically it for this building. Now we're going to go over the large buildings at the center of the map, starting over here. I'm going to go to the other one first, because I like going over the other one first. I don't know why. I don't know. I like it. That was good. You do have a slot right here. If there's a block here, you have a complete line of blocks. That's how you can think of it, but you can also think of it as a slot, right? Alright. So it looks like Party Tray has been removed from the game due to suspicious activity, and they are always watching, right? That was good, right? That's basically it, for this. I don't have much over here. Yeah, there's not much at the top of this building. So I'm just gonna go to the other building. Alright, and now I'm a hunter. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the other building, which is this building, which So there's no instances up here, right? Up here, nope. No instances here. Are there any instances here? Nope. Any instances here? Nope. And again, depending on your definition, if you're very, very lenient, I guess it just depends on your viewpoint. You might consider this a hole, even though it just doesn't make sense to consider that a hole. You might consider it a hole, but I believe if you consider that to be a hole, then you might as well consider this spot to be a hole and this spot to be a slot, right? Basically, you can also think of it, you have basically two corners of the stack, right? There's a corner right here and a corner right here that should be empty, but if they're full, then you know it's fake. That's another way to think about it, right? Those two corners. That's basically it for the center of the map. Now we're going to look at the outside of the map, right? We already talked about that melon stack, right? There's two holes in the melon stack, and technically you could consider this a hole just because it's surrounded by 4 blocks, which are all completely different. That's why I like to view that as a hole. For this cauldron stack, you have a slot right here, right? But I'm going to head in this direction because I like to head clockwise first. That's how I like to do it. I don't remember. No, you can't become solid here, but it's technically a slot. You have a slot right here, right? That's pretty much all you have. But you have a lot of slots right here. You have a slot here, a slot here, a slot here, and a slot here. But since there's so many slots, in my opinion, a better way to look at this is, you know, if you ever see a large grouping of cauldrons, right? If you ever see a grouping of cauldrons that exceeds 2, right? Because notice, if you think about all groups of cauldrons that are adjacent to each other, you literally only have 2 cauldrons that are adjacent to each other in the stack. So if you see, for instance, 5 cauldrons that are adjacent to each other, right? Notice there's 5 total cauldrons all touching each other. That would be fake. So instead of viewing it as if you have multiple slots, you just view it as if you have a large grouping of cauldrons, right? And that typically happens when you have instances where there's many different slots, right? When there's like a lot of slots in a stack, many times that theoretical instance will occur. I like that. That was good, right? That was good, right? Did you like that? Let's just focus on the outside block piles, right? I don't think we have anything over here. Yeah. There's not much over here. You have some holes, right? This is a hole, obviously. The ground like that. You also have another hole right here. Oh, by the way, I'm just kidding. I like doing that. I like saying that. Oh, by the way. Even though I never really say it, but I might say that more often. So you have a hole right here. Whenever I forget to mention something, I'm going to say, oh, by the way. That was good. For this melon stack, you have 2 slots, as you can see. Now we're reaching the hider spawn, right? If you recall, the hider spawn of Eclipse Town is the back strip of the map. So we're going to look at all the different holes. You have a hole right here. That would be fake. You have a hole right here. That would be fake. I like that. That was good. That's the only hole there, though, in my opinion. You have a hole right here in the bookshelf stack. You have a slot in the cauldron stack. A slot in the TNT stack. Like this. But I like to view that as 4 in a row. In the furnace stack, you have a hole. I love that. We have a hole. That was good. You have a hole in the hay bale stack, and then a bigger hole right here, as you can see. It's surrounded by 1 block high, 2.5 blocks, 2.5 blocks, no, 2.5 blocks, 2 blocks, and 2 blocks. So that's a bigger hole, or deeper hole, I should say. That was good. I like that. And then you have a slot right there, and that's basically it. Depending on your viewpoint, you might view this as a hole, but yeah. For the bookshelf stack, you have a hole right here. That's basically it. That's how I like to view that. That's basically it. Let's just head over here. Right. Again, I'm probably missing some slots, but I don't like to view certain things as slots. We're not going to worry too much about this side of the map because it's too hard, right? That was good. I had to say that. It's too hard, so we're not going to worry about this side of the map. So, because it's too hard, we're not going to worry about it. Right here, you have a hole right here with the TNTs. from my viewpoint, I'm going to view this as a slot, even though there's a slab there, right? It's not 1 block high, but from my viewpoint, I'm going to view it as a slot. Like that, from my viewpoint. That was good. That's basically it. So now all we got to do is go over the outside buildings. So now we're going to go over the outside buildings, right? We're going to start out with this one, though. Right? The one that has all those chickens in it. Look at all the different slots and holes that exist. For instance, there's a slot right here that you could be inserted into. You could insert yourself into that slot. And up here, I believe there's a hole. Yeah, there's a hole right here that you could insert yourself into. I like that. That was good. So right there. What else is there? Let's see if there's anything else that you can hide inside of. There's a hole that you can hide inside of here. Right, so you can hide inside of this hole. Now, over here you actually have a slot though, and a hole. But you have a slot and a hole. Up here you have a hole that you can hide inside of. You have 2 holes right here that you can hide inside of. Right, so you can insert yourself into those holes. You also have a hole right here. But that's basically it for this building. So now we're going to route to the other building. I like that word, route. So I'm routing to the other building so we can look at some more slots and holes. Yeah, let's just... there's no holes over here. Okay, you have a hole right here, but, you know, technically you might consider this a slot if you wanted to define it as if the 2 blocks have to be not transparent, because the glass you can technically see through. So very technically, you might consider this a slot, but I consider it a hole because it's just obvious. A hole. So that's a hole that you could insert yourself into. You also have a hole right here, a hole right here. Nothing over here, but you do have a hole right here. This is not a hole. Okay. Nothing over here. Up here, you do have a hole right here. You have a hole right here. You have a hole right here. And you have a hole right here. So you have 3 holes in this stack. Then you have 1 slot in the stack. You just have to remember that the other slot is actually filled. Right? This slot is not filled. That's basically it for holes and slots in this building. Going to the next building. There used to be a slot or a hole here, but they obviously updated it. That was a long time ago, though. You have a few holes here. You have a hole here and a hole here. Technically, you have a slot right here and a slot right here, but I don't like to view those as slots for some reason. Just the holes. I like the holes more. I like that was good. Okay, there's a hole right there that you can hide inside of. Now, why is it so important that we know these holes, right? There's a hole right here. The reason why holes are so important is because, well, they give you a way to, you know, recognize certain patterns in the blocks. And so that's why I'm talking about holes so much. That was good. Okay, I'll stop. That was bad. Okay, that one was bad. Alright, but anyways, I'm going to show you one more slot, which is right here. Because I like to view that as a slot sometimes. That's basically it for this building. We have one more building to go over. Over here. There's nothing up here. Alright, but there are a few. There's a hole right here that you can hide inside of. There's a slot right here. I like to view this as a slot. Right, I like to view that as a slot. And then there's a few spots up here. Typically as a flower pot, even though there's no flower pots up here. There's that slot. As a note block, there's this slot. And as a flower pot, there's this slot. So that's basically it for slots and holes or Eclipse Town. So hopefully you see the reason why I'm talking about slots and holes. It's so important that you know about them. Right? You just gotta know that you can hide inside of them. I was done. That's basically it for Eclipse Town when it comes to slots and holes, right? There's quite a few. So that's basically it for memorizing slots and holes. And so that's basically it for this video.